Hello everyone, Scott J. Way from Crucible Custom Props, Northworks Lab, and all the forums here. It's been a little while since the last video. I've been pumping stuff out and behind the scenes and just getting things done. But a lot of the stuff that you've seen before, so I didn't feel like making whole videos on them. This one is, of course, it's a V2, a Luke V2, but this one is the Dave P V2. So this was sent in to me by someone who commissioned it to get finished, and they sent in the kit. Well, I guess it's the saber itself, including I think it's a sloth furnace card, a vintage Graflex clamp. Pretty sure this is a vintage cone knob, vintage boot stud, vintage D-ring, and of course the Dave P kit. Now, what's kind of cool about the Dave P V2 is the construction. It's from the booster all the way till the break in the neck is one piece. Then you have the emitter, which is one piece, and the nipple is another piece there. And then the pommel, of course, is one piece. So it's fewer pieces, and it's not made for FX. In fact, it's made with a rod that goes all the way down to here, from here. The nipple kind of holds, with the set screws, holds onto the rod, and these set screws hold onto the base of the nipple, and that holds the emitter on. And right now the gaffer tape is holding the emitters in one place, but otherwise it's got some bearings. It's got a bearing in the base of the emitter and two bearings up in here, and the emitter can freely spin however you like it. But with the tape on, of course, it's not going to move. It can move, but it's not going to unless you wear out the tape and let it spin. The other neat thing about it is having so many solid pieces and less material hollowed out for electronics is its weight. It's a bit heavier than some of the others, for sure. And that's about it. It's simple in construction. Dave P also does provide his own stencil set. So this is not the Trooper Trent stencil set. This is the Dave P stencil set that comes with it. There's even a stencil for the damage on the bottom. There's a stencil for each rib, as you'll see there. Top and bottoms. Let's see if I can show you those here. Stencils all around for every bit of it, pretty much. So here's the airbrushed strip right down the center. We've got the little ding in the center punch right there. It's hard to come across, but you can kind of see it in the light right there. And that's pretty much it. Oh, this is the Onawanga lever right here. But that is it. Pretty straightforward, but it's kind of interesting. Now, I have my own personal Solos Hold V2, the one that I did all the dimensions on, kind of comparison, because people probably want to compare these and see. Now, they're very close, as all of them will be. All of the new ones and all of the V2s are very close, with differences in interpretation here and there from the one or two reference pictures that are out there. All of the proportions are almost identical. Like the flanges are all the same. This one was, when it came, the Dave P one, the previous owner of it had sanded it down or turned it down or something, so the top is a little bit domed for some reason. So it is dented. You can see that it's dented, but it was more difficult to dent without making it look funky because of that sanded dome kind of finish to it. But going back to the proportions and everything, I mean, everything is, it might be hard to see with the camera distortion, but everything is pretty much the same as far as dimensions, overall proportions. The main differences that I see are the Dave P has this little undercut that you see on the wooden bucks right there, which makes the interpretation of this section a little bit different. You just kind of see the difference there. Now, I don't recall what that looked like in person. It was so long ago when I held the thing. So until we get better pictures, I'm not sure 100%. The booster is almost identical from under the clamp to, it's a little bit shorter than the Solos Hold one. The other main difference here is the pommel. The Dave P has a shorter distance here, causing the boot stud to sit quite different. And the pommel cubes, of course, we have the pommel cubes on the Solos Hold where the bases are not as wide as they should be. These are about the correct, but when you compare the cubes here, they're a little shorter, and then these dimensions are almost like exact. See the diameters. It's a little tiny bit less wide. So yeah, I mean, all the V2s coming out and existing are going to be very close. I'm sure the Star Killer is very close to these. The Veracity Labs is going to be super close, and it's just going to be small, tiny differences in the interpretation of the photos and how people are scaling things. And I did all my stuff just by old school methods, and seems like everybody else has some overlays, some 3D overlays and stuff like that. So, but it's kind of interesting to see how close they all are, really. But in any case, no matter what you do, whichever one you go with, I think all of the current offerings for V2s are really close and going to be about as good as you're going to get until Brandon releases more photos of the original prop and things like that. So anyway, here's the Dave P all finished up and done with as many vintage parts as you can get, I guess. And pretty cool. I like the weight. I like the weight a lot. So pretty neat. Feels good in the hand. Mine I even weighted a little bit more than regular. And I prefer the weight of the Dave P. It's just heavier. Feels good in the hand. So that's about it. Pretty interesting. Oh, and you can also see the difference in the stencils here. let's look at those. It's kind of fun to see the differences. Try and get these. So the Dave P on the right, the Trooper Trent stencil set on the left. It's quite a big difference in scale of this spot here. The Trooper Trent one does not have all of the different scratches on the ribs as part of the stencil kit. Here's the moose. I always call it the moose for some reason. Quite different. It looks like it's just quite different because of the scaling and the interpretation of that part of the hilt. Both of these are vintage clamps with original wear and then some of the added wear to match the photos. And this one in particular, my clamp came just like this with the block already like that. This one I had to remove from the bar, and this one was the hardest one I've ever had to do. I had to basically literally destroy that bar to get that thing out. But anyway, here we're looking at the stencils again here at the bottom. Quite a bit different. Very similar. I don't know what point in time the photos, but they're, you can recognize the shapes. It's just interesting. You can kind of see how these were developed. Pretty neat. So that's about it. Just wanted to show you guys those details. Pretty cool. So there it is. There's the Dave P V2. Thanks for watching.